Hi guys, this is Masterath, and this is my first review of my 3 Wrestlemanias that I own. This is the first Wrestlemania that I own, Wrestlemania 5, the Mega Powers Explode. Let's begin with the background of it. The date was April the 2nd, 1989. The attendance was 18,946 in the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Bit of a strange place to hold a WrestleMania, but not even hold one WrestleMania. He held two. Held two consecutively. That was strange. But anyway, let's go straight to the matches. We will first, but okay, let's go to our on-screen talent. Our ring announcer, of course, was the great Howard Finkel. Our commentators were Jesse the Body Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon. So, let's go straight to the matches and the results. The first match of the evening was Hercules facing up against King Haku. Bobby Heenan would accompany the King Haku to the arena, to the ring as well. Hercules would be able to grab a great victory with a back suplex before moving his shoulder off the canvas to make sure it's not a double pin. So Hercules would win the match. Next up was the first of 5 tag team matches on the night. The Twin Towers, Akeem and the Big Boss Man, with the Doctor's Style Slick, defeated the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, I think, making his debut in the WWE at this point. However, when you're up against over 700 pounds of meat and of power with Akeem and the Big Boss Man, you know that you're in a bit of trouble, and that's exactly what happened with the Rockers. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels were beaten by the Twin Towers. Next match was Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus Ted DiBiase. Virgil, his bodyguard, accompanied Ted DiBiase to the ringside. And they fought to a double countout, but there was no hair cutting in that match, which is a bit of a shame. But this is when Ted DiBiase had his portrayment as the $1 Million Champion. Next up was another tag match. The Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch, defeating the Fabulous Rougeaus. The Fabulous Rougeaus being coming to the ring by Jimmy Hart. The Bushwhackers would win the match, which is a bit weird because no one actually remembers the Bushwhackers for much. I remember the Bushwhackers for only one thing, being the only ever wrestling team to come out of New Zealand. The Bushwhackers grabbed the victory, even though they walk weird to the ring, but oh well. Our fifth match of 14 was Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, versus the Blue Blazer, a.k.a. Owen Hart. Mr. Perfect would win the match within 6 minutes with using the Perfect Plex. And then a handicap tag match for the WWF, at that time, the WWF Tag Team Championship, as Demolition would defend their titles within 8.5 minutes, defeating the Powers of Pain and Mr. Fuji. In a singles match, Dino Bravo would continue his great run in the WWF after beating rugged Ronnie Garvin in a singles match which lasted just under 5 minutes. And except for 2 events, was the shortest match of them all. Then it was the Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard, never heard of him, and of course someone who I do know, Double A, Arn Anderson. With Bobby Heenan, defeated Strikeforce, Rick Martel, and Tito Santana. This is after Rick Martel would accidentally get floored, you could say, by Tino Santana with a flying forearm. Martel would take offense to that and would leave Santana to face Blanchard and Anderson on his own. Therefore, and you can't take out both of the Brainbusters if you're just merely Tino Santana. The next match was Jake the Snake Roberts defeating Andre the Giant with Bobby Heenan by disqualification in a singles match, where the special guest referee was the great Big John Studd. Jake Roberts would beat Andre the Giant because John Studd would try and just do normal refereeing duties, even though he's too big to be a referee, before Andre the Giant would try and start, you could say, on Big John Studd. Because Andre the Giant has a phobia of snakes. Why accept the match with Jake then? But yeah, Jake Roberts would bring out Damien, who's the snake. He's got loads of snakes, I think, but I think they've all got different names or something. I don't know, he might have the same snake, I don't know. But then Jake Roberts would go for the bag before Andre the Giant would try and prevent him from going for the bag until Ted DiBiase came out and took the bag away from the ring. While Andre the Giant was having a go at John Studd, Jake Roberts would go after in pursuit of Ted DiBiase, who'd already been in a match prior to this at WrestleMania. Beat the crap out of Ted DiBiase, take the bag back, and let loose the snake, which would cause Andre the Giant to release his grip on Big John Studd, causing Studd to do the disqualification. The Hart Foundation, in our 10th of 14 matches, defeated the Honky Tonk Man and Greg the Hammer Valentine. Again, Jimmy Hart, once again, was the manager of the opposing team to the Hart Foundation. The match ended within 8 minutes with a win for the Hart Foundation. And then our second of 3 titles on the line, where Ravishing Rick Rude became Intercontinental Champion, defeating the Ultimate Warrior with a big assistance from Bobby Heenan. Heenan would trip the Ultimate Warrior before grabbing hold of Ultimate Warrior's legs to stop him from getting to the ropes, while Rick Rude got the pin. Ultimate Warrior would then injure. He'd kill Bobby Heenan. A few minutes or so before his match with the Red Rooster. Of course, Heenan would hope that the match between Jim Duggan and Bad News Brown would be like a 20-minute match and go the full time limit. No, it lasted 3 minutes and 49 seconds with a double disqualification. After Bad News Brown would bring in a steel chair, and Jim Duggan would bring in his favoured 2x4, and they'd just smash each other around. And then the Red Rooster versus Bobby the Brain Heenan with the Brooklyn Brawler. But the Red Rooster defeated Heenan within 32 seconds after Heenan tried to fight back, but done the same thing as Ken Patera did a few months before at SummerSlam, ramming his shoulder into the steel post, and then got rolled up for a schoolboy. That's it. Brooklyn Brawler would then take out the Red Rooster after the match. And now our main event for the WWE Championship, then WWF Championship. Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage. Now these two, in my last review of SummerSlam 1988, would be teaming up. They'd be best of friends. However, it was not to be, as Randy Savage would then think that Hulk Hogan is after Miss Elizabeth, you could say, and kept putting Miss Elizabeth in the arguments. Hulk Hogan would then challenge Randy Savage for the WWF title. Hulk Hogan would win the WWF title after 18 minutes. The match was good. The match also included actually a bit of blood, which is slightly strange for a match in the 80s. But Hulk Hogan was busted open, a cut above his eye. That was a very good main event, I've got to say. In those days, none of those matches are very... no one really remembers, but I do remember that match. It was a very good match. Very good match. So my whole review of that pay-per-view, a bit too many matches, I think. There were some good off wrestling segments as well. The the segment with Piper's Pit was a good one. But then, of course, you got on the other side the crap segments, like Run DMC's WrestleMania Rap. I don't want to... When I've got a pay-per-view, I don't expect for 3 or so minutes, right, to have some weirdo with a lot of chains running around the ring shouting WrestleMania over and over again. So, therefore, for that, I am only going to give this rating for this pay-per-view 81. So, yes, SummerSlam has currently beaten WrestleMania. I just don't think that... they needed a WrestleMania rap. Really. It was a crap rap anyway. I couldn't understand what the hell he was saying. So anyway, I've been Masterath, and I'll see you for my next pay-per-view extravaganza check thing. Which will be the 1999 Royal Rumble. Goodbye.